What up, Shinigami Kai? Shinigami here with a video I probably should have made like a month ago, but you know, it didn't happen that way. Brutus, I love you too, buddy, but you're kind of in the view. You're blocking the camera's view of my face. Okay, so yeah, I should have made this probably during the Olympics, but that's when I had COVID. And this might be contribution. My views here might be a little controversial to some people, but the people who they're going to be controversial to probably just don't get it because they don't train, they don't compete in anything, at least athletic, and there's. I've already went through this on Twitter actually, and I got a lot of stupid, ignorant responses to what I was saying that made absolutely no sense, and it was just straw man projection. So before you even get in my comment section about this part of this video, I am not racist, and I have nothing against women. And if I did, you'd know it because I'd say it, and I don't. So don't even try to bring that in as an argument against what I'm saying because it ain't it, fam. So there was a few things that happened in the Olympics that I feel the need to address, and that I feel were being addressed by too many armchair masters and like bleeding heart snowflakes. So I'm just going to start with the most controversial, juicy topic of this video, Simone Biles. Okay. Now, I don't do gymnastics. I'm a martial artist. I'm an MMA fighter. I'm a karateka. I've done pseudo-gymnastic things in karate for, practice, front rolls, butterfly kicks, things of that nature. Things within my body type limit too. I'm not doing triple backflips in the air and nothing like that. But when the thing about Simone Biles and the criticisms and well deserved they were for quitting. Come down to the fact that for years she has tooted her own horn, calling herself the GOAT, getting the GOAT, sequined onto all of her leotards, and then she makes it to the Olympics, which, for her is the highest level of competition, highest level, all right, for her sport. And she doesn't live up to the hype. She doesn't live up to her own, self-proclaimed greatness of all time, being the greatest of all time. Performs absolutely terrible. One of the landings was so bad that she bounced off the mat. And then she quits on her team during the gold medal round. Lets down her team, her country, her fans. Can't say herself because... she did this to herself. So, I mean, when you train for something like that, and her excuses were absolutely terrible. She got the twisties, and then it was some other stuff about, she felt mentally not in it. Well, guess what? Welcome to sports. She was afraid of injury. Where, you can't claim to be the greatest of all time and then quit and then make up a bunch of dumb excuses. Like, injury is inherent to any sport. you know, everybody. I don't care if you're a gymnast, a soccer player. I don't care if you're 10 years old, 18 years old, an MMA fighter, a karate practitioner, taekwondo, anything. You know, every single sport, the day one when you sign up in the gym, you sign a waiver. Anytime you compete, you sign a waiver. They warn you that injury and death are an inherent risk to everything. Okay, and you know it's not like it's MMA where your ability to, you know, if you feel like you're in extreme danger, because that is a severely dangerous sport, because it's a combat sport. You know, you can tap out or whatever. It's not like that. This is something that's not that dangerous, and you know the risk of injury is there, but the amount of gymnasts to get injured severely in the Olympics is next to nothing. And I mean, there was a Russian gymnast in the early '90s, I believe. I was really young. I don't remember her name. I think it was Sharapova, maybe. Broke her neck, finished the division, and won gold. So Simone quitting and making lame excuses about she was afraid to get hurt, especially when she's already done a competition with a broken toe that she broke during and finished. You know, it didn't fly with me, and you know she's a coward. I'm gonna say it like it is. She's a coward. Um, she's a liar and a coward. She lied about being the greatest of all time. She lied about why she quit, and uh, she couldn't even come back and get gold in the solos. I mean, she got bronze. You know, greatest of all time. If you're really the greatest of all time, you're not going to get third place to anybody, especially at the highest level of competition in your sport. It's not going to happen. You don't quit the team. You don't get bronze in solo. It just you don't do it if you're the greatest. So goat cred denied, goat cred revoked. You know, it's just what she did is not okay. What she did is not the hallmark of a champion. It's not the hallmark of the greatest of all time. And the biggest thing about it is she called herself the GOAT. You know, I get all kinds of praise from people for kicking detail and knocking them out. I get called legend this and GOAT that. And I constantly tell people that I'm just a guy from the middle of nowhere doing what I do. I haven't done anything to deserve that kind of praise yet. I haven't beat anybody at the top level of the game. But here's Simone Biles claiming she's a GOAT, getting to the top level of her game and absolutely choking and making excuses, quitting because she looked like ass out there, and then making excuses, and then failing again when she did solos. So, you know, it just boggles my mind how many people wanted to defend her, and then these same people who I guarantee you sit on their ass with a bag of potato chips watching her thinking she's the GOAT no matter what because she called herself that and this and that and whatever, you know, brainwash propaganda crap they have just to give her praise for whatever identity politics reason they decided to do it. To call everybody else potato chip eating, you know, couch masters who are criticizing her is absolutely ludicrous. And again, I went through this back and forth with a bunch of people on Twitter, and you know, one of them was so cognitively dissonant or experienced so much cognitive dissonance that despite the fact that I was very clear and concise about the same way I was here, you know, they try to resort to all kinds of stuff and ultimately that I'm racist and misogynist, which again has nothing to do with it. You know, and again, I'm terrible with names. The only reason I remember Simone Biles' name is because I actually argued about this so much already on Twitter. The U.S. gold medalist in women's wrestling was a black woman, and I gave her absolute props, you know, on Twitter. And I give her props to this day. That's a champion. That is a winner. That is what you do when you get to the highest level of competition for your sport. You go for it and you win. I mean, and the history of the Olympics is full of Olympians competing, injured, with injuries they got during the Olympics. So Simone Biles complaining about the twisties, which is nonsense, and all this other stuff. And I think the biggest argument happened on Twitter because of the Oreo pushing a commercial with her in it. So I will forever call her excuse her getting the Oreo twisties because that was ridiculous. They would still promote their product with her after she quit the way she did. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely nuts. And same thing can be said for that dude in the tennis competition who flipped out. But upon further research, if I recall correctly, that whole thing he'd already that was it for him. So he didn't really quit. He lost and threw a fit and stormed off, but he's pissed off because he lost. But he stayed through the final round he was going to be in. He didn't quit on his team. He didn't quit before the match. He quit. I mean, he wasn't even quitting, really. He just stormed off after, from my understanding. And then the big one, other than Simone Biles, is the, I believe it was the Saudi Arabian karate 70 kilogram plus fighter against, I think the guy was from Turkey or something. Dude knocked the other guy out by accident. The other guy actually leaned into it. So it was really his own fault he got knocked out because that kick was not that powerful. He happened to lean into it before it got pulled. You know, you can't get something up there fast without putting a little power on it up to a certain point, at least the first quarter, first third. And this dude leaned right into it. So, and he was losing. He was losing anyway. Leans into it, gets knocked out, and gets declared the winner because they went with WKF rules for Olympic karate. And I can kind of understand why they did that, but it was also not the smartest decision. They should have gone with karate combat rules and made it full contact. You know, and the referee and the judges decided to obey the letter of the law rather than the spirit of the law and DQ'd the guy who was pretty much annihilating his opponent on points. Just absolutely, it was an absolute shutout. It was like 5-0 when dude leaned into the kick. Now, that doesn't look good for the sport. It doesn't look good for karate as an art. It doesn't look good for sport karate as a competition because a lot of people got exposed to karate via the Olympics. That was the first time they'd ever seen karate, and it made it look way weaker than it actually is. What they should have done was either allow knockouts, because Taekwondo is allowed to, knockouts are allowed in Taekwondo in the Olympics. So they should have modified the rules to allow knockouts, or went with a different rule set like karate combat that allows knockouts and takedowns. Or even Kyokushin rules. But that was absolutely ridiculous, and that needs to be overturned. And dude who was legitimately winning the match should be given the gold medal instead, because he actually earned it. Now, that being said, if they do ever bring the karate back to the Olympics, they need to do it with a better rule set. The reason they did WKF is because they're the governing body for traditional Japanese martial karate, which again isn't even really technically traditionally Japanese. It's actually mostly Okinawan, and they only recognize they're like the Japanese martial arts authority, and only really recognize 4 styles of karate: Kyokushin, Goju Ryu, I think Shito Ryu, and Ishin Ryu, or Uechi Ryu, one of the two, if I recall correctly. So that's why they went with that rule set, but that was just a foolish idea. That's about all I have to say about that. They need to do something about it. If I were Simone Biles, I would just retire out of embarrassment. And that might sound a little harsh, And I don't know, some people are going to talk some smack about how I just lost the fight and tapped out. I don't care. Huge difference between that and calling yourself the GOAT and then getting to the highest level of competition and performing ass. That'd be like me calling myself the GOAT, getting to the UFC and losing, quitting on the stool between rounds and making up some bullshit excuse about why. You know, huge difference between tapping out in the round as the rules provide for and quitting on the stool. You know, letting the team down, letting down everybody. They put in hours of time, you know, weeks and months of time training me. Huge difference. You know, so don't call yourself the GOAT and then choke and make excuses when you quit because you look like ass. Just at least be honest about it and maybe stop, you know, calling yourself the GOAT, and just never ever call yourself the GOAT. You know, it's one thing for other people to assign you labels like that, but to toot your own horn is to set yourself up for absolute embarrassment and failure and folly and get well-deserved criticism. And it's just really sad that we live in an era now where people are going to defend that kind of crap and then make the criticisms into things that they are not. That being said, Shinigami out. Links in the description below. Go check out Street View Scrapyard channel. Go check out their other channel for alternate angle Street View Scrapyard GoPro. And till next time, Shinigami out.
Shinigami, samurai master, straight up out the land of Lancaster. No one stronger, ain't no one faster. Turning the opponents into Caspers, ghosts, disasters. We don't do no waiting, where I'm from, we attack them. Swift KO kick to the chin, leave them napping. Sniff, take a whiff, that's the smell of victory. Better fear, making all my peers' careers history. Big dubs, all we catch is big dubs. Karate chops to his tops, leave them big slumped. Humble beast, beefing in the street, we don't take no loss.